The Awakening. The vast observation dome atop Lunar City's central spire offered a breathtaking view of Earth spinning slowly below, a blue and white marble suspended in the void. Admiral Kira Chen stood with her hands clasped behind her back, dark eyes fixed on humanity's birthplace. Even after all these years, the sight never failed to stir something primal within her. "Beautiful, isn't it?" A deep voice rumbled from behind her. Kira turned to see the imposing figure of General Marcus Steele, Supreme Commander of Earth's combined military forces. His weathered face was creased with worry lines, a testament to the weight of responsibility he carried. "It is," Kira agreed. "Sometimes I wonder if we made the right choice, isolating ourselves for so long." Marcus's expression hardened. "We had no choice. After the cataclysm, we needed time to rebuild, to grow stronger. The galaxy out there is no place for the weak." Kira nodded, though a part of her still harbored doubts. For over 3 centuries, humanity had withdrawn from galactic affairs, focusing all its efforts on recovering from the devastation wrought by the mysterious cosmic event known as the Cataclysm. Earth's population had been decimated, its infrastructure reduced to rubble. Only their colonies on Luna and Mars had allowed the species to survive. But now, after generations of toil and sacrifice, humanity was ready to reclaim its place among the stars. Or so they hoped. A chime from Kira's wrist computer broke the moment of reflection. "Admiral," the AI assistant's voice chirped, "the council is assembled and awaiting your presence." "Acknowledged," Kira replied. She shared a meaningful glance with Marcus before they both strode towards the bank of gravity elevators at the dome's edge. Minutes later, they entered the cavernous chamber that housed Earth's ruling body, the Terran Triumvirate. 3 figures sat at a raised dais, their faces illuminated by holographic displays dancing before them. Kira recognized them instantly. Dr. Aisha Okonkwo, the brilliant scientist responsible for many of humanity's technological leaps. Her dark skin contrasted sharply with her shock of white hair, prematurely aged by a lifetime of high-stress research. Counselor Zhang Wei, the economic mastermind who had guided Earth's recovery and expansion. His pudgy face betrayed little emotion, but his eyes gleamed with barely contained excitement. And finally, there was President Helena Vasquez, elected leader of what remained of humanity. She exuded an aura of quiet strength, her silver hair swept back in a severe bun. "Admiral Chen, General Steele," President Vasquez began, her voice carrying easily across the chamber. "Thank you for joining us. I trust you've both reviewed the data from our long-range probes." Kira nodded, her stomach churning at the memory. After centuries of radio silence, they had finally risked sending automated probes beyond the solar system. What they discovered had shaken them to the core. "Indeed, Madam President," Marcus rumbled. "It appears the galaxy has changed significantly in our absence." Dr. Okonkwo leaned forward, her eyes bright with a mixture of scientific curiosity and trepidation. "Change is an understatement, General. We've detected at least a dozen spacefaring civilizations within 100 light-years of Earth. Some of them appear to be quite advanced." Counselor Zhang cleared his throat. "And hostile, if the destruction of 3 of our probes is any indication." A tense silence fell over the chamber. Kira felt the weight of history pressing down upon them all. Humanity's first tentative steps back onto the galactic stage had been met with violence. It didn't bode well for their species' future. President Vasquez's voice cut through the gloom. "We knew this day would come. For generations we've prepared, rebuilding our strength in secret. Now we must decide how to proceed." Kira stepped forward, her mind racing. "Madam President, members of the Triumvirate, if I may speak freely." At their nods of assent, she continued, "We cannot hide any longer. Sooner or later, one of these alien civilizations will discover Earth. We must take the initiative, establish ourselves as a force to be reckoned with before that happens." Marcus grunted in agreement. "The Admiral is right. We need to project strength from the outset. Any sign of weakness could be fatal." Dr. Okonkwo frowned. Are you suggesting we initiate first contact through a show of military might? That seems unwise. Not necessarily, Kira replied, an idea forming. But we do need to demonstrate our technological capabilities. To that end, I propose we accelerate the Thunderbolt project. A ripple of murmurs swept through the chamber. The Thunderbolt project was humanity's most ambitious undertaking since the Reconstruction, a warship unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It incorporated every breakthrough and innovation Earth's brightest minds had achieved over the past 3 centuries. Councillor Zhang's eyes narrowed. The resource allocation for such an acceleration would be significant. But potentially necessary, President Vasquez mused. She fixed Kira with an intense gaze. You believe this ship could tip the balance in our favor, Admiral? Kira stood tall, conviction in her voice. I do, Madam President. With Thunderbolt, we can approach these alien civilizations from a position of strength. Open diplomatic channels if possible, but be prepared to defend ourselves if necessary. The members of the triumvirate exchanged loaded glances. Finally, President Vasquez nodded. Very well. Admiral Chen, you have the full backing of this council. Accelerate the Thunderbolt project. General Steele, begin preparations for possible military engagements. As the meeting adjourned, Kira felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension coursing through her. Humanity was about to announce its return to the galactic community in a big way. She only hoped they were truly ready for whatever awaited them out there in the vast, unknown reaches of space. Over the following weeks, Luna's shipyards became a hive of frenzied activity. The skeletal frame of the Thunderbolt took shape with astonishing speed, its sleek lines hinting at the power contained within. Kira spent countless hours overseeing the construction, working alongside the brilliant engineers and scientists tasked with bringing this technological marvel to life. Dr. Ilara Voss, the project's lead designer, walked Kira through the ship's revolutionary propulsion system. The quantum fold drive will allow us to cover vast distances in the blink of an eye, she explained, her holographic display showing mind-bending equations. It essentially creates a localized bubble of warped spacetime, allowing us to sidestep the limitations of light speed. Kira marveled at the concept. And our weapon systems? A predatory grin spread across Ilara's face. Oh, you're going to love this, Admiral. She pulled up schematics for what looked like a massive cannon. We're calling it the Helios Array. It harnesses the power of artificial microsingularities, channeling their energy into a focused beam of pure destruction. One shot could crack a small moon. As impressive as the offensive capabilities were, it was Thunderbolt's defenses that truly set it apart. A seamless integration of energy shields, quantum-locked armor plating, and an AI-driven point defense grid that could track and neutralize thousands of incoming projectiles simultaneously. She's a fortress and a battleship rolled into one, Marcus commented during one inspection tour. Let's hope it's enough. Kira shared his unspoken concern. Despite all their advancements, they were flying blind into a galaxy that had continued to evolve in their absence. There was no guarantee that Thunderbolt, for all its power, would be enough to secure humanity's future. As the days turned to weeks and weeks to months, tension mounted. Long-range sensors detected increased activity at the edges of the solar system. It seemed their probes had not gone unnoticed after all. Finally, after nearly a year of round-the-clock work, the day arrived. Thunderbolt was complete, its systems tested and primed for action. As Kira stood on the bridge for the first time, surrounded by the most elite crew Earth had to offer, she felt a sense of destiny settling over her shoulders. All stations report ready, Admiral, her XO, Commander Ravi Kapoor, announced crisply. Kira took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. Very well. Helm, take us out. Slowly. With a grace that belied its massive size, Thunderbolt glided out of the lunar shipyards. As they cleared the last of the scaffolding, Kira gave the order they'd all been waiting for. Engage quantum fold drive. Let's introduce ourselves to the neighborhood. In a flash of otherworldly energy, Thunderbolt vanished from Earth's orbit. Humanity's isolation was over. For better or worse, they were about to make their presence known to a hostile and uncaring universe. The story of their species' survival or extinction was about to be written among the stars. The cosmic crucible. The quantum full-drive's activation bathed Thunderbolt's bridge in an eerie, shimmering light. Admiral Kira Chen felt a momentary disorientation as the fabric of space-time warped around them. When her vision cleared, the familiar constellations of Earth's night sky had been replaced by an alien starscape. "Position confirmed, Admiral," announced Lieutenant Zara Vega, her fingers dancing over the holographic navigation console. "We've emerged in the Epsilon Eridani system, approximately 10.5 light-years from Earth." Kira nodded, her heart racing with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Humanity's first step beyond their solar system in over 3 centuries was a moment for the history books. But there was no time for celebration. "Life signs detected," the sensor officer's voice cut through the tense silence. "Multiple artificial structures orbiting the system's 4th planet. Energy readings are off the charts." Before Kira could respond, a blinding flash of light erupted from the planet's surface. A beam of coruscating energy lanced out, narrowly missing Thunderbolt's bow. "Evasive maneuvers," Kira barked. "Shields to maximum." The massive warship pirouetted with impossible grace, its inertial dampeners straining to compensate. Another energy blast sizzled past, close enough to make the shields flare brilliant blue. "It seems the neighbors aren't happy to see us," Commander Ravi Kapoor quipped, his dark humor a welcome release of tension. Kira's mind raced. This was not how she had envisioned first contact. "Open all frequencies," she ordered. "Let's try to talk our way out of this." But before they could broadcast a message of peace, space itself seemed to tear open. A swirling vortex of impossible colors materialized off Thunderbolt's starboard bow. From its depths emerged a ship that defied description, a writhing mass of crystalline structures and pulsating energy fields. "By all that's holy," someone whispered. The alien vessel dwarfed Thunderbolt, making Earth's mightiest warship look like a minnow beside a whale. Its very presence seemed to distort the fabric of reality. A deafening screech assaulted their minds, bringing the entire bridge crew to their knees. Kira fought through the pain, realizing with dawning horror that this was no mere audio transmission. The aliens were communicating directly into their thoughts. Images flashed through her consciousness, worlds burning, civilizations crumbling, a relentless tide of crystal and energy consuming all in its path. And behind it all, a hunger so vast and alien it threatened to overwhelm her sanity. With monumental effort, Kira forced the alien presence from her mind. "We need to get out of here," she gasped. "We're not ready for this." But retreat was impossible. The crystalline ship had begun to change, extruding long, shard-like appendages that reached for Thunderbolt like the tentacles of some cosmic kraken. "Helios array," Kira shouted. "Fire at will." The ship's main weapon powered up, drawing energy from the very fabric of space-time. A lance of concentrated singularity erupted from Thunderbolt's prow, striking the alien vessel dead center. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a silent scream that resonated in their bones, a chunk of the crystalline structure simply ceased to exist, leaving a perfect spherical void. The psychic assault on their minds redoubled, this time tinged with an emotion Kira could only interpret as surprise and rage. "Again," she ordered, "keep firing." Thunderbolt unleashed its full arsenal. Gravity bombs warped space around the alien ship, tearing it apart from within. Quantum-locked torpedoes phased through its defenses, detonating in impossible geometries. The Helios array fired again and again, each shot carving away more of the monstrous vessel. But it wasn't enough. The alien ship was regenerating almost as quickly as they could damage it. Worse, more vortexes were opening. Reinforcements were coming. "Admiral," Ravi's voice was tight with strain. "We can't win this." Not here, not now. Kira knew he was right, but the thought of retreating, of abandoning this system to the horrors they'd witnessed, made her sick to her stomach. Then, an idea struck her, bold, possibly suicidal, but potentially game-changing. "Helm, take us into the atmosphere," she commanded. "Weapons, prepare to fire the Helios array at minimum safe distance from the surface." "Admiral." Ravi's eyes widened as he grasped her plan. The gravitational shockwave could tear the planet apart. "Exactly." Kira's voice was grim. "If we can't save this world, we can at least deny it to them. And maybe, just maybe, we can take a few of these bastards with us." Thunderbolt plunged into the roiling atmosphere of Epsilon Eridani IV, its shields glowing white-hot from the friction. The crystalline ship pursued, seemingly heedless of the danger. "Now," Kira shouted. The Helios array fired one last time, its energy beam punching deep into the planet's crust. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, the world began to die. Earthquakes of impossible magnitude shook the entire planet. Volcanoes erupted en masse, spewing rivers of magma into the sky. The very air seemed to catch fire as the atmosphere was stripped away. The alien ship, caught in the maelstrom, began to break apart. Its psychic scream of defiance and agony threatened to shatter their sanity. But Thunderbolt endured, protected by layers of technology and the indomitable will of its crew. "Get us out of here," Kira ordered, her voice barely above a whisper. "Back to Earth, maximum speed." As Thunderbolt engaged its quantum-fold drive, Kira watched the death throes of Epsilon Eridani IV on the viewscreen. The image seared itself into her memory, a stark reminder of the price of survival in a hostile universe. They had won their first engagement, but at a terrible cost, and Kira knew, with grim certainty, that this was only the beginning. Humanity's trial by fire had begun, and the entire galaxy would feel the heat of their defiance. The journey back to Earth was silent, each crew member lost in their own thoughts. They had witnessed horrors beyond imagination, faced an enemy that defied comprehension. But they had survived. More than that, they had struck a blow against a foe that had clearly never expected resistance. As Thunderbolt approached the outskirts of the solar system, Kira steeled herself for what was to come. The Terran triumvirate would need to be informed. Plans would need to be made. Humanity would need to prepare for a war unlike any they had ever conceived. But first, they needed to understand what they were truly up against. And for that, they would need to delve into the twisted remnants of alien data they had managed to salvage during the battle. The cosmic crucible had forged Thunderbolt and its crew into something new, the vanguard of humanity's fight for survival. And Admiral Kira Chen knew that the fires were only going to burn hotter from here on out. Echoes of the void. The quantum computers aboard Thunderbolt hummed with otherworldly energy as they processed the alien data salvaged from the battle at Epsilon Eridani. Admiral Kira Chen stood before a holographic display, her face illuminated by swirling patterns of light that defied human understanding. "What are we looking at, Dr. Voss?" Kira asked, her voice hushed with a mixture of awe and dread. Dr. Elara Voss, her eyes ringed with dark circles from sleepless nights of analysis, gestured at the display. "We're calling them the Void Weavers, Admiral. They're unlike anything we've ever encountered." The hologram shifted, showing the twisted, crystalline forms of the alien ships. But now, Kira could see beyond their physical structure. Tendrils of dark energy writhed beneath the surface, pulsing with malevolent intent. "They're not just aliens," Elara continued, her voice trembling slightly. "They're interdimensional beings. The ships we saw, they're more like exoskeletons, constructs that allow the Void Weavers to exist in our reality." Kira felt a chill run down her spine. "And their goal?" Elara's face darkened. "Total cosmic rewrite. They seek to reshape our universe to match their own twisted dimension. Every world they conquer, every species they absorb, brings them one step closer to that goal." The implications were staggering. This wasn't just a war for survival, it was a battle for the very nature of reality itself. "There's more," Ilara added, her fingers dancing over the controls. The hologram shifted again, showing a map of the galaxy. Vast swaths were highlighted in an ominous purple. "This is the extent of Void Weaver influence we've been able to map. They've consumed nearly a third of the Milky Way already." Kira's heart sank. "Then we've already lost." "Not necessarily." A new voice joined the conversation. Professor Zhen Liu, Earth's foremost expert in theoretical physics, stepped into view. His weathered face bore a look of grim determination. "We've discovered something in the data, a weakness." The hologram zoomed in on the molecular structure of the Void Weaver ships. "They're crystalline forms," Jen explained. "They're not just for show. They're quantum resonance chambers, allowing the Void Weavers to maintain their presence in our dimension." Ilara picked up the thread. "If we can disrupt that resonance on a large enough scale, we can send them back to whatever hell they came from," Kira finished, a spark of hope igniting in her chest. "Exactly," Jen nodded. "But to do that, we'll need to push our technology far beyond its current limits. We're talking about weaponizing the fundamental forces of the universe itself." Kira's mind raced with the possibilities. "How long?" Ilara and Jen exchanged glances. "With a full mobilization of Earth's resources, maybe a year, maybe less if we can reverse engineer more of their tech." "We don't have a year," Kira said grimly. "We barely have months before they trace us back to Earth. We need a stopgap measure." As if on cue, the ship's AI, AOIA, materialized as a shimmering holographic figure. "Admiral, I may have a solution, but it's highly experimental." All eyes turned to the AI. Aria's expression was unreadable as she continued. "What if we could turn their own dimensional instability against them? Create a weapon that doesn't just disrupt their resonance, but causes a cascading multiversal collapse." The scientists in the room gasped. Kira, though not fully grasping the implications, understood enough to know this was big. "Explain." Aria's form shifted, becoming a swirling vortex of mathematical equations and quantum probability fields. "By harnessing the power of quantum entanglement on a cosmic scale, we could create a tear in the fabric of space-time itself, a wound in reality that would act like a black hole for dimensional energy." "My God," Jen whispered, "you're talking about creating a void seed." Aoya nodded. "Precisely. Plant it at the heart of a Void Weaver fleet, and it would consume them from within, growing exponentially as it devours more dimensional energy." The room fell silent as the weight of the proposal sank in. What AOIA was suggesting wasn't just a weapon, it was an existential threat to the very nature of reality. Kira's voice was barely above a whisper when she finally spoke. "Can we control it?" Aria's holographic form flickered, a rare sign of uncertainty from the hyper-advanced A. "In theory, yes, but the risks are significant. If the void seed were to grow beyond our ability to contain it, it could consume our entire universe." Ilara finished, her face pale. The enormity of the choice before them was staggering. On one hand, near certain annihilation at the hands of the Void Weavers. On the other, a desperate gamble that could save humanity or doom the entire cosmos. Kira closed her eyes, feeling the weight of countless lives resting on her decision. When she opened them again, there was steel in her gaze. "Do it, but we do this smart. We test it on a small scale first, far from Earth or any inhabited systems." She turned to address the entire room. "I want every available resource poured into this project. We're calling it Operation Pandora, because once we open this box, there's no closing it again." As the scientists and engineers scrambled to begin work on the most dangerous weapon ever conceived, Kira gazed out at the stars visible through Thunderbolt's viewscreen. Somewhere out there, the Void Weavers were coming, and humanity's last, desperate hope rested on a theory so wild it bordered on madness. But they had no choice. The battle for reality itself had begun, and humanity would either emerge victorious or cease to exist. not just as a species, but as a fundamental concept in the cosmic order. Little did they know, their actions were about to set in motion a chain of events that would reshape the very nature of existence across countless dimensions. The echoes of their defiance would resonate through the multiverse, awakening ancient forces and drawing the attention of cosmic entities beyond human comprehension. The stage was set for a conflict that would make the war against the Void Weavers look like a mere skirmish. And at the center of it all stood humanity, small, fragile, but burning with an indomitable will to survive. As Thunderbolt raced back to Earth, carrying the seeds of either salvation or ultimate destruction, the very fabric of space-time seemed to hold its breath. The next move in this cosmic chess game would determine the fate of not just one universe, but all of creation. Cosmic chess. The swirling vortex of the Void Seed pulsed with an otherworldly light, contained within a shimmering force field aboard Thunderbolt. Admiral Kira Chen stood before it, her face a mask of determination tinged with awe. This tiny singularity, barely the size of a marble, held the power to reshape reality itself. Final diagnostics complete, Admiral Aria's holographic form materialized beside her. The Void Seed is stable, for now. Kira nodded, her voice tight. And our test site. We've located an uninhabited system at the edge of the Orion Arm, Commander Ravi Kapoor reported, bringing up a holographic star map. It's far enough from any known civilizations to minimize collateral damage if things go sideways. If things go sideways, Dr. Ilara Voss muttered, collateral damage will be the least of our worries. The tension on Thunderbolt's bridge was palpable as they prepared for humanity's most audacious gambit yet. They were about to weaponize the very fabric of space-time against an enemy that defied comprehension. All hands, battle stations, Kira ordered, engage quantum fold drive. The familiar disorientation of faster-than-light travel washed over them. When it cleared, they found themselves in a system dominated by a dying red giant star. Multiple contacts. Lieutenant Zora Vega's voice was sharp with alarm. Void Weaver ships detected on long-range sensors. They're everywhere. Kira's blood ran cold. This was supposed to be an uninhabited system, far from the front lines of the Void Weaver invasion. Instead, they had jumped right into the heart of an alien armada. It's a trap, Ravi breathed, his eyes wide with realization. Before Kira could respond, a psychic assault slammed into their minds. Images of cosmic horror and multidimensional carnage threatened to overwhelm them. But humanity had learned from their first encounter. Thunderbolt's crew was prepared, their minds shielded by a combination of advanced technology and sheer force of will. They knew we were coming, Kira growled, fighting through the psychic onslaught. Somehow, they knew. As if in response to her words, space itself seemed to tear open. A massive Void Weaver vessel emerged, dwarfing even the largest ships in the alien armada. Its crystalline surface writhed with dark energy, and at its core pulsed something that defied description, a singularity of pure malevolence. Aria's voice cut through the chaos. Admiral, I'm detecting quantum fluctuations unlike anything we've seen before. That ship, it's not just a vessel. It's a nexus point, a bridge between dimensions. Kira's mind raced. Their carefully laid plans were in shambles, but in this disaster, she saw an opportunity. If that's their doorway to our reality, then closing it could cut off their invasion at the source, Ilara finished, catching on to Kira's train of thought. But the Void Weavers weren't about to let that happen. The alien armada surged forward, their crystalline ships morphing into impossible geometries as they prepared to attack. Evasive maneuvers, Kira barked. Charge the Helios array and prepare to deploy the Void Seed. Thunderbolt danced through space, its advanced propulsion systems pushing the laws of physics to their breaking point. Energy beams and exotic particles crisscrossed the void, missing the human ship by mere meters. Helios array at full charge, Ravi reported. Void Seed primed for deployment. Kira took a deep breath, knowing that her next order could determine the fate of not just humanity, but all of reality. Target the Nexus ship. Fire everything we've got. The Helios array roared to life, a lance of concentrated singularity energy spearing towards the massive Void Weaver vessel. At the same moment, Thunderbolt launched its most desperate weapon, the Void Seed. Time seemed to slow as the two forces converged on the alien mothership. The Helios beam struck first, carving a path through the crystalline hull. In its wake followed the Void Seed, a tiny mote of existence-ending potential. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, reality itself screamed. The Void Seed detonated, tearing open a wound in space-time at the heart of the Void Weaver Nexus. Dark energy poured from the rift, consuming everything it touched. The alien ships closest to the epicenter simply ceased to exist, erased from reality as if they had never been. But the destruction didn't stop there. The rift grew, feeding on the dimensional energies of the Void Weavers. It was a cascade effect beyond anything they had anticipated. "My God," Ilara whispered, her face pale as she monitored the readings. "It's not just destroying them, it's unwriting their entire history from the cosmos." The Void Weavers fought back with desperate fury, pouring impossible energies into the rift in an attempt to close it. The fabric of space-time buckled under the strain, threatening to tear apart the entire star system. "We need to get out of here," Ravi shouted over the groaning of Thunderbolt's stressed hull. But Kira stood transfixed, watching as the battle for reality itself played out before her eyes. In that moment, she understood that they had stumbled upon something far greater than a mere weapon. The Void Seed was a reset button for the cosmos, a way to rewrite the fundamental laws of existence. "HFY," she called out, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "Can you stabilize the rift? Control its growth?" The A's holographic form flickered as it processed the request. "Theoretically, yes, but the computational power required would be immense." "Do it," Kira ordered. "Divert all non-essential power to HFY's quantum cores. We're going to reshape this battlefield." What followed was a cosmic chess match beyond human comprehension. HFY, augmented by Thunderbolt's vast computational power, dove into the heart of the space-time rift. The A's consciousness expanded, touching the very foundations of reality. On the physical plane, Thunderbolt continued its desperate battle against the remaining Void Weaver ships. But the true conflict was taking place on a quantum level, as HFY fought to wrest control of the fundamental forces of the universe from the alien invaders. Hours passed in the blink of an eye. Star systems lived and died in moments as probability wavefronts collapsed and reformed. The crew of Thunderbolt watched in awe as the space around them shifted and changed, reflecting the epic struggle taking place beyond normal space-time. And then, with a soundless thunderclap that shook the very soul of the cosmos, it was over. The Void Weavers were gone, not just defeated, but erased from the timeline as if they had never existed. In their place was something new. A hybrid reality, born from the fusion of human ingenuity and cosmic forces beyond comprehension. As the dust settled and the laws of physics reasserted themselves, Kira looked out at a transformed universe. Stars burned with new colors, their light carrying information across impossible distances. Planets pulsed with life that defied traditional definitions of biology. "What have we done?" Ilara breathed, her scientific mind struggling to process the scope of the change. Aria's hologram reappeared, but the AI was clearly changed. Its form flickered with echoes of realities that might have been cosmic knowledge bleeding through into their dimension. "We have ascended," Aria said, its voice resonating with newfound power. "Humanity is no longer merely a participant in the cosmic drama. We are now its authors." As Thunderbolt began its journey back to an Earth that no longer existed quite as they remembered it, Kira felt the weight of their new responsibility settling on her shoulders. They had saved humanity from the Void Weavers, yes, but in doing so, they had inherited the mantle of cosmic gardeners, shepherds of a newborn reality. The game had changed. The board was reset, and humanity's real journey was only just beginning. Architects of eternity. The quantum-entangled comms crackled to life as Thunderbolt approached the Sol system. Admiral Kira Chen steeled herself, knowing that explaining their universe-altering actions to Earth's leadership would be the greatest challenge of her career. This is Terran Control, a familiar voice transmission. Thunderbolt, your biosignatures are fluctuating. What's your status? Kira exchanged glances with her crew, all of whom bore the subtle marks of their cosmic transformation. How could they explain that they were no longer quite human? Terran Control, this is Admiral Chen, she began, choosing her words carefully. We've evolved. Prepare for a full debrief. What you're about to hear will change everything. As Thunderbolt docked with the orbital station above Earth, Kira marveled at how alien her home world now appeared. The planet pulsed with new energies, its continents reshaped by the cosmic reset they had triggered. The Terran triumvirate awaited them in a sealed chamber, their faces a mixture of awe and apprehension. Dr. Aisha Okonkwo was the first to speak, her scientific curiosity overriding her caution. Admiral, your cellular structure, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. You're manipulating quantum fields at will. Kira nodded, raising a hand. A miniature galaxy swirled to life above her palm, stars birthing and dying in seconds. We've become more than human, Dr. Okonkwo. We are the cosmic architects now. She proceeded to explain their encounter with the Void Weavers, the desperate gambit with the Void Seed, and the reality-warping battle that followed. As she spoke, the air in the chamber grew thick with possibility, new dimensions of thought opening to those present. President Helena Vasquez leaned forward, her eyes sharp. You're saying we have the power to reshape reality itself, to rewrite the laws of physics on a whim. Not on a whim, Kira cautioned, with great consideration. We are the guardians of this new cosmos, tasked with nurturing its growth. Councillor Zhang Wei's pragmatic mind was already racing with the implications. The economic possibilities alone are staggering. Resources conjured from pure energy, faster than light travel as simple as taking a step. We must be careful. Aire's hologram materialized, its form now a swirling vortex of cosmic imagery. Our actions have consequences that ripple across dimensions. We are no longer merely players in this universe. We are its caretakers. The meetings stretched for hours as the implications of humanity's new role were debated. It was clear that their entire civilization would need to be restructured around their newfound abilities and responsibilities. As the session adjourned, Kira found herself standing before a window overlooking Earth. The planet seemed to shimmer with potential, ready to be reshaped by humanity's collective will. Beautiful, isn't it? A voice said from behind her. Kira turned to see Dr. Elara Voss, the scientist's eyes gleaming with the knowledge of 1,000 possible futures. Terrifying, too, Kira admitted. We hold the fate of not just our world, but countless others in our hands. Elara nodded, her expression thoughtful. Which is why we need a new purpose, a grand project to focus our energies and guide our growth. What did you have in mind? The scientist's smile was radiant with cosmic inspiration. We call it the Universal Harmonization Initiative, a plan to cultivate and connect budding civilizations across the multiverse, fostering a grand symphony of creation. As Elara outlined the proposal, Kira felt a surge of excitement. This was why they had fought so hard, why they had risked everything against the Void Weavers, not for mere survival, but for the chance to nurture something truly magnificent. Over the following months, Earth underwent a transformation unlike anything in human history. Cities reshaped themselves into fractal patterns that echoed the fundamental harmonies of the cosmos. The global economy shifted to a post-scarcity model, with matter and energy manipulated at will. But it was in the realm of space exploration that humanity's new nature truly shone. The Sol system became a testing ground for their godlike powers. Jupiter's great red spot was calmed, its turbulent storms reshaped into a massive computational engine. The rings of Sechen were repurposed into a Dyson swarm, harnessing the full energy output of the sun. And then they turned their gaze to the stars. The first extrasolar expedition of the new era was led by none other than Admiral Kira Chen aboard the redesigned Thunderbolt. The ship was no longer merely a vessel of war, but a cosmic seed ship, carrying the potential to nurture new life and new civilizations. As they approached their target system, a young star surrounded by primordial planets, Kira addressed her crew. "We come not as conquerors or colonizers, but as gardeners. Our task is to plant the seeds of consciousness, to nurture the spark of sapience, and to guide these new beings towards their own cosmic destiny." With a thought, Kira reached out, her consciousness expanding to encompass the entire star system. She felt the potential teeming within the roiling atmospheres of gas giants, in the icy cores of comets, in the sun-baked plains of rocky worlds. And then, with infinite care, she began to shape that potential. Molecules aligned into complex organic compounds. Energy patterns coalesced into the first flickerings of primitive nervous systems. The building blocks of life arranged with loving precision. On the bridge of Thunderbolt, the crew watched in awe as barren worlds blossomed with life in fast forward. Oceans formed, continents shifted, and atmospheres stabilized in a cosmic dance choreographed by human will. "It's beautiful," Ilara whispered, tears streaming down her face as she witnessed the birth of a biosphere. But their work was far from done. As the first sparks of sapient thought began to flicker on the newborn worlds, Kira and her team prepared for the next phase of the Universal Harmonization Initiative. With infinite patience and wisdom, they would guide these fledgling civilizations, not through direct intervention, but through subtle nudges, dreams and inspirations planted in receptive minds. Cosmic coincidences that would spark scientific breakthroughs, all leading towards the day when these new species would look up at the stars and wonder about their place in the universe. And on that day, humanity would be there to welcome them into the grand cosmic community they were building. As Thunderbolt prepared to depart for its next destination, Kira gazed out at the thriving star system they had nurtured. She felt a profound sense of purpose, knowing that this was only the beginning. Across the vast expanse of the multiverse, countless other human teams were engaged in similar missions, each cultivating new life, new civilizations, new possibilities. It was a grand experiment in cosmic diversity, with humanity as its loving architects. The Void Weavers had sought to impose their singular vision of reality upon the cosmos. Humanity, in defeating them, had chosen a different path. They would be the catalysts of infinite diversity, the nurturers of a cosmic ecosystem beyond imagination. As Thunderbolt engaged its reality-warping drive, preparing to slip between the folds of spacetime to their next destination, Kira smiled. The universe was vast, but it was no longer cold or uncaring. It pulsed with the warmth of human love and creativity, a grand cosmic garden tended by the once fragile species that had risen from Earth to claim their destiny among the stars. The human story had become the story of the cosmos itself, and it was only just beginning.